and the wind tasted of salt and sorrow, there lived a girl named Mira who collected storms. Not the thunderous kind that split the sky, no. She collected the quiet storms, the ones that lived inside people. Her grandmother Aji taught her this art. Look at their eyes, little one. The sea is inside every human. Some are calm as morning tides. Others are tsunamis waiting to break. Mira was 7 when she first understood. That was the year her mother stopped laughing, the year her father's boat never came back from the fishing grounds. Her mother's eyes became a monsoon that never ended, so Mira started collecting her tears in a glass jar, 1 drop for each night her mother cried into her pillow. She labeled it Mama's Rain. By winter, the jar was full. She buried it under the banyan tree, hoping the earth would drink the sorrow and turn it into flowers. Aji was the lighthouse keeper, a title passed down through 7 generations of women. Every night she climbed the spiraling stairs with Mira trailing behind, their footsteps echoing like heartbeats. The lighthouse is not for the ships, Aji explained one evening as the beam swept across the dark water. It's for the ones who are already lost. It says someone is still looking for you. Mira didn't fully understand then, but she remembered the words. They became her prayer. Each night she'd whisper to the sea, Papa, if you're lost, I'm still looking. She never got an answer. But sometimes, just sometimes, the waves would reply in a language only children could decode. She wrote these messages on seashells and threw them back. 1 shell returned. On it, in scratchy handwriting she didn't recognize, I'm found. Are you? She kept that shell under her pillow for 3 years. When Mira turned 10, Aji fell ill. The doctors called it the slow goodbye, a disease that unraveled memory like a frayed rope. Some days, Aji didn't recognize her. She'd call Mira by her mother's name. Other days, she'd mistake the sea for the sky and try to walk into the waves. Mira became the keeper of both the lighthouse and her grandmother's crumbling mind. She learned to boil rice, to braid Aji's thinning hair, to sing the old lullabies that made her grandmother smile. But the hardest thing was watching AAG forget the story of the glass jar, the buried tears, the shell that came back. One evening, Aji looked at Mira with clear eyes, a rare moment of lucidity, and said, You are the lighthouse now, my child. Don't let the storm inside you drown the light. Then she closed her eyes and didn't open them again. Mira didn't cry. She collected her own tears this time, a new jar. She labeled it Aji's Sunset. She buried it next to the first one. 2 years passed. Mira was 12, tall and thin as a fishing rod, with eyes that held too many questions. The island had changed. Tourists came now, with their cameras and their laughter. But Mira stayed invisible until Ravi. He was the new fisherman's son from the mainland, with a crooked smile and a dog named Kutu who ate coconuts. He found Mira one evening on the beach, drawing patterns in the sand with a stick. You're drawing birds, he said. They're not birds, she replied without looking up. They're words, Aji's words. Ravi sat down. He didn't ask more questions. He just stayed. That was the beginning of something Mira didn't have a name for, not love, not friendship, but a bridge between 2 lonely islands. He told her about his mother, who died giving birth to him. She told him about her father, who disappeared in the storm, her mother, who stopped laughing, her grandmother, who forgot her name. We're both orphans, Ravi said. No, Mira corrected, touching the shell under her dress. We're both waiting. But Ravi had a secret. His father, a stern man with a face like cracked leather, beat him. Not often, just enough to remind Ravi who he belonged to. The bruises Ravi hid under long sleeves, the fear he hid behind his grin, Mira noticed. She knew monsters, after all. She'd lived with one called Silence and another called Grief. You can stay at the lighthouse, she offered one night, as they watched the beam sweep across the black water. Aji said the lighthouse is for the lost. Ravi shook his head. He's still my father. He's all I have. Mira wanted to argue, but she understood desperately, painfully, the terrible need to love the person who hurts you. Because who else is there? That night she dreamt of her father's boat, a tiny speck on an infinite ocean slowly sinking. She woke up screaming. Her mother rushed in, eyes wide with panic. For a moment, just a moment, they hugged, 2 islands touching. Then her mother pulled away, ashamed of the tenderness. The next morning Mira dug up the 2 jars. The first Mama's rain had cracked. The tears had seeped into the earth, and where they'd spilled, a single white flower had bloomed. The second Aji's sunset remained intact. The tears inside now crystallized like tiny diamonds. Mira held both in her hands. She understood then what Aji had tried to teach her. Grief doesn't stay. It transforms. It becomes something new. She took the jar with Aji's tears and brought it to her mother. This was Grandma's last gift, she said. Her mother took the jar. For the first time in 5 years, she touched Mira's face. You look just like her, she whispered. Your eyes, they hold the same storm. That evening, mother and daughter walked to the beach together. They threw the jar into the sea, not with anger, but with blessing. And somewhere, in a fisherman's hut, Ravi's father found a letter addressed to him. It was from his wife, who had died, and had one sentence: Be kind to our son, I see you from the stars. Mira was 15 when the earth shook. Not metaphorically, the ground beneath Kala trembled with the memory of ancient gods. The sea pulled back, revealing corals and shipwrecks that hadn't seen sunlight in centuries. The old fishermen knew what it meant. They screamed, Run! The sea is coming back! Mira's mother grabbed her hand, the first time in years she'd initiated touch. They ran, up the hill, toward the lighthouse. Behind them, the water rose like a wall of glass, swallowing houses, boats, and a boy with a crooked smile. Mira turned back, screamed Ravi's name into the chaos. But the wave had no ears. It only devoured. When the water finally retreated, half the island was gone. Among the missing, Ravi, his father, the dog Kutu, and everything Mira had foolishly believed would last forever. The days after the tsunami were measured and bodies found and bodies never found. Mira helped the rescue teams. She dug through mud with her bare hands, her fingers bleeding, her heart a bruise. She found Kutu's collar first, chewed and waterlogged. Then she found Ravi's shirt, his blue striped shirt, the one he wore every Sunday. But no Ravi, no father. They were listed as presumed lost at sea. Mira refused to accept it. She wrote messages in bottles, 57 of them, and threw them into the ocean. Each one said, I'm still looking, come back. Some weeks later, a fisherman from 3 islands away returned 1 bottle. Inside was a drawing, a crude sketch of a lighthouse and a girl with braids. No message. But she knew Ravi was alive, somewhere, and he was drawing her from memory. Mira's mother, Kumari, finally spoke. Not in whispers or laments, but in full sentences, like a dam breaking. She told Mira the truth she'd kept buried, that Mira's father hadn't died in the storm. He had left, voluntarily, on a calm morning. He had kissed Kumari's forehead and said, I can't stay on this island. I'm suffocating. I'm sorry. Then he walked to the dock and never looked back. Kumari had invented the storm story to protect Mira from the cruel truth that some fathers choose not to return. Mira listened in silence. Then she asked the question that had haunted her for years. Was it me? Did I make him leave? Her mother wept. No, Mira, it was never you. He was the storm. You were the lighthouse, you were always the light. He just didn't know how to stay. That night, Mira didn't sleep. She drew Ravi's face in the sand over and over, waiting for the tide to wash it away. A week later, Mira found a new shell on the beach. It was a conch, spiraled like a cosmic staircase. She held it to her ear, not expecting the sea, but hoping for Ravi's voice. Instead, she heard a song, an old lullaby that Aji used to sing, words in a language older than Kala, about a girl who turned her tears into pearls and strung them into a necklace for the ocean god. Mira remembered Aji had taught her this song on the night before she died. One day, Aji had said, "You'll need to sing it back to the sea, and the sea will give you what you've lost." Mira sat on the beach and sang. Her voice was rusty, trembling, but the sea listened. The tide came in, kissed her feet, and retreated, leaving behind a glass bottle. Inside was a letter in Ravi's handwriting. "I'm on the next island. I'm building a boat. Wait for me."